Hey, welcome back to Album April. It's April 7th, and today I listened to Animals by Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd is one of those artists I've listened to one album from every single album April so far. I've listened to Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall, Wish You Were Here, and this is another one that kept popping up in my searches, Animals. I gotta say, it was certainly a bit of a shock to see that this 44-minute album only has 5 songs on it. And the first and the last song are only about 90 seconds each, so a majority of the time is 3 songs. I remember that Wish You Were Here only had like 5 tracks, but I went back to look at it. The first and last track were one big long song that had 9 different parts, and we heard like 5 at the beginning and 4 at the end. In this album, we got a 17-minute track, a 10-minute track, and an 11-minute track. And that's not even the longest Pink Floyd song. In their earlier album Metal, the entire B-side was one 23-minute song. I think I've said in the past that like a 50-minute album with 12 tracks feels not nearly as long as a 40-minute album that only has 8 tracks or something like that. This is pushing that to its absolute limit. Wish You Were Here did a lot better at making it not feel like the songs were just going on forever. And this one, those 3 middle tracks, they all felt like they went on for way too long. And it wasn't even like they were like split up into different suites, like parts that sounded distinctly different. It kind of just felt like the same thing spinning its wheels with like a guitar solo here and there. Basically just like 3 In-A-Gadda-Da-Vidas in one album. Because of that, this was definitely my least favorite of the 4 Pink Floyd albums I've listened to for album April. But even with all that out of the way, I haven't even talked about what Animals is about. It's apparently a play off of the Animal Farm story that George Orwell wrote. Now, that original story was meant to be a critique of communism and Stalinism. In this one, they apparently warped that into a critique of capitalism, because of course they did. The 3 big songs are Dogs, Pigs, and Sheep, and they're apparently about 3 different types of people. You got the dogs, the bad people in society. You got the pigs, the corrupt rulers of society. Then you got the sheep, the people who just go with the flow and don't question things. Another thing that separates it even further from its source material of Animal Farm is that the sheep rise up, kill the dogs, and like win. When in the book, the whole point of it is that the pigs sort of took over and they started becoming just like the humans that they overthrew until at the very end of the book, the pigs were indistinguishable from the farmers that they had like tried to escape the rule from in the first place. And I really didn't pick that up while I was listening to it because at that point I had pretty much tuned out. There were a couple interesting musical moments on this album. I did notice that on Sheep, there were a few parts where like a long held vocal note slowly turned into a siren, like gradually. I thought that was kind of cool. But again, these 3 songs were so bloated and repetitive to me that I was just sick of it by the time the album was over. If you want something more experimental, that's more of an overall experience than a sequence of songs, go to Dark Side of the Moon. If you want something that tells a story, go to The Wall. If you really want to listen to very long songs that still try to keep your attention, go to Wish You Were Here. I didn't think there was anything particularly good about Animals. And with that all being said, I'll see you tomorrow.